Organic aphid control at home. Alright, so we're going to talk about aphids today, and I'm going to divide this into 3 different topics. So first we're going to discuss identification, then we're going to talk about how to get rid of them, and then we're going to talk about how to prevent having them in the first place. So what are aphids? Aphids are very small bugs that have mouth parts that suck on the sap of plants. This is bad because not only do they damage the plants by sucking out its life-giving sap, but they can also distribute diseases if they fed off of a diseased plant prior to coming to your plant. They're also known as green flies or plant lice. You can usually find aphids on the underside of leaves or by following a trail of ants on the ground to the plant. And the reason why ants love aphids is because aphids, after feeding on your plants, distribute this sticky sweet substance known as honeydew, and ants love it. So they tend to farm aphids by gathering them all in one little tidy bunch, and that way they can harvest the honeydew. Another problem with aphids is that honeydew substance, if the ants don't take care of it and it remains on your plant, it can turn into a dark mold that further damages your plants. The good news is that aphids are slow moving, so they're perfect for predator insects and they're perfect for you. And let's get to how to get rid of them right now. Some natural and organic methods of getting rid of aphids start off with the best tools we have, our hands. Because they're slow moving, you can just simply find the aphids and smush them and rub them off with your fingers. I would suggest wearing gloves when doing this because you are going to get that honeydew all over you. And if you've ever, perhaps as a child, played with slugs and you got that sticky residue on your hands that never ever seemed to wash off, honeydew's kind of the same. It's gross. You can also use a nice powerful jet of water from your hose, preferably if you have one of those pressure nozzles that have the wide, straight, almost like a squeegee of water option. That really helps get the aphids off, and you can just squirt the aphids off with your hose. Now you want to make sure that your plant is strong enough to withhold that water pressure, so anything that's too delicate, you're going to want to avoid this. But if it's a strong enough plant, you're just going to hose them off. But be wary that you may be hosing those aphids onto neighboring plants, so be careful which direction your water spray goes. Now you're thinking, just hosing them off, really? Remember, aphids are slow moving and they're very small. So that water pressure is going to damage them and knock them off, and then it's going to take them a long time to get back to the nice juicy parts of your plant, so they'll probably die before they reach it again. The water hose method works best before you get a full-blown infestation. Also, when you're doing the hand method, if you feel like picking them off or knocking them off, if you keep a bucket of soapy water nearby, you can drown them in there, much to your delight. If any part of your plant is really badly infected, go ahead and prune that off and make sure not to put any diseased or infected plant material in your compost, because then it'll spread throughout your compost and you'll redistribute it onto new growth. Another method is with a soap and water mixture in a squirt bottle. I suggest using a natural soap like Castile soap that I have here, and you're just going to mix a few tablespoons of the pure soap in a gallon of water and then fill a squirt bottle with that. You can also dip a clean sponge into this solution to trigger specific areas of plants, like more delicate areas such as a flower bud. This also works well to soak the underside of leaves. The soap works because it dissolves a protective outer layer on aphids, thus killing them. And it's also perfect for organic gardening because it doesn't hurt beneficial bugs. Another option is to fight them off by using essential oils. Like most other pests, they're sensitive to scents. So that's why this Castile oil that I got is actually infused with peppermint, so it's going to do double duty. It's going to injure their protective outer layer, and it's also going to deposit the peppermint scent on the plant so that new aphids may not want to go there. I recommend essential oils of peppermint, clove, rosemary, and thyme. You're going to mix 4 to 5 drops of those in a water solution, put that in a squirt bottle, and apply liberally to your plants. Your final option is neem oil. Now, neem oil is great because not only will it kill bugs like aphids, it's also a fungicide and a miticide. So it controls a numerous amount of different problems that your plants may have. The reason why I left neem to the end is because neem can be harmful to beneficial insects, particularly pollinators, so you want to be careful when applying neem. It also can burn some of the plants themselves, so make sure you follow the directions carefully, dilute it properly, and apply it at low light times, either first thing before dawn or right as sun is setting. Another way to effectively destroy aphids is through beneficial parasitic bugs, such as ladybugs. Now, we are all fond of ladybugs because we know how beneficial they are for the garden, but you may find it interesting that it is actually the larva stage of ladybugs that eats more aphids than the adults. So unfortunately, when you purchase ladybugs, you're normally getting the adult stage of the ladybug, and you're going to have a really heavy-duty aphid problem before they're going to multiply to get to the larva stage to really do any damage to the aphids. I highly recommend getting ladybugs anyway because they're so beneficial to the garden. Just make sure if you do purchase ladybugs and are prepared to release them, that you read the instructions thoroughly. Make sure you prep your ladybugs properly and you release them at the proper time and temperature. Green lacewings are another beneficial bug that will eat the aphids just like ladybugs. Small bug-eating birds will also feast on your aphids, so you want to make sure that you have housing nearby your garden area that will be friendly to those type of birds. Wrens and chickadees, if available in your area, are the ones you're going to want to provide an appropriate habitat for. You can also attract beneficial insects by planting plants that they love, such as clover, mint, dill, fennel, and yarrow. You can also repel aphids by planting plants that they don't like, such as catnip, garlic, chives, onion, and alum. These plants all have essential oils that they release, whether through their leaves or their roots, that the aphids find unpleasant. You can also plant plants that aphids are going to prefer to your vegetables and use them as trap plants. These plants include zinnias, dahlias, cosmos, aster, mustard, and nostrum. With trap plants, you can make sure that your aphid colony is well attached to that plant, destroy the plant entirely, or use some of the natural methods that I've already covered in this video to destroy the aphids. So in summary, plant those plants that will keep your aphids away and keep a close eye on the underside of your leaves to nip that problem in the bud before it gets too bad. I hope you found these tips and tricks useful. Thank you for watching and subscribing, and we'll see you next time on City Steading, Garden and Grow.